Welcome, everyone, to the Knitting by the Sea podcast. My name is Lisa. I am Saratoga Knitting on Instagram and on Ravelry, and I welcome you to my home. I live in Marblehead, Massachusetts, which is just a little bit north of Boston, and it is a tiny harbor town, so I'm lucky enough to have the water very close by. And I live in a very old house. It's really an antique house that was built around 1750 as a warehouse, and then was transformed into a residence around 1850. So I feel very lucky to kind of be the caretaker of this particular property. This is a knitting, spinning, crafting podcast, and I'm really happy that you're here today. We will take a look at some finished objects. I have a couple since the last time I podcasted, and I have some works in progress, and I have some, or at least one project that is in the planning stages right now. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. And then we'll have some chatter at the end. So let's get started. Finished objects. I have two to show you today, and I'm really pleased with both of them. The first one is the little sweater that I was working for our friend, Sophia's friend, Megan, and her little baby son. And it is called the Mellow Sunday Sweater, and it's by Lisa Chenery, Frogginet Designs, Knitting Designs, and I'll put the link down in the description box below. I really like her patterns. She designs mostly for little ones, so babies up through toddlers and probably into the teenage years. And she has a couple of adult patterns, but mostly she focuses on patterns for little ones, and they're so cute. And I always forget when I do a pattern for a little person, a little baby or toddler, how quickly they go. They really move very fast, very, very fast. And I think the only reason I don't get them done quicker is that I just kind of stop. I'll get attracted by something else. But this, I'm finally finished with it. And the person it's going to, they live in Virginia, so there's no rush to get this to them. It's not going to be used probably until the fall and into the winter. But I'm really, really, really pleased with this, and I'm going to show it to you now. It's just the cutest little sweater. Unisex, could be for a girl or a boy. And it has this really lovely patterning on the very top of it. You have the option, of course, you could do this patterning all the way down. I just chose not to on this particular one. And it just goes down. It has a little ribbing on the bottom and on the sleeves, and has some ribbing at the top. And I finally got it out yesterday and woven all the ends, so they're all taken care of. And I actually threw it in the washing machine because this is it's not super wash, but it is. It's a wool and acrylic blend, so it can go in the washing machine. And I think it really, once you do that, it really, just like blocking anything, it really blooms out and just really sets everything in shape. And I'm just so happy with it. The back is plain. And the really nice thing about this pattern too is that it's sized for many sizes. So if they like this pattern, this is something I could make again as he gets older. He's only a little over 2 now, but he's kind of a big guy. So he'll be able to wear this, and then I would easily be able to make more of the same pattern, maybe in a different color shade. But I'm really happy with this. Really happy to get this off of the needles, and I will be sending out to her, even though she won't need it right away. But I'm really pleased with the way that came out, and I'm looking forward to choosing another pattern to do the next time around. The second finished object that I have is a really simple one, but it was lots of fun to make, and it is called the Catty Corner Towel by Purl Soho. And I think it's a towel, and they also have a Catty Corner dishcloth as well, or washcloth that you can use. And if you remember, I had purchased some of this really gorgeous linen mix yarn from Patricia of Knittography Farms, and I had decided to put it together into this particular one towel, and it came out really nice. And again, I finally wove in all the ends yesterday, and I threw it in the wash along with that sweater just to kind of get it loose. This can easily go in the wash a number of times, and it's really cute. It's knit on the bias, so it's really cute. It has lots of stripes. I used all of the different colors that I got, so they're kind of like Easter egg colors here, spring colors. But I really, really liked the way it came out. You can see the patterning up close. And this was really, really fun to knit as well, and changing the colors. And I really just kind of knit until I was finished with one of the balls of yarn, and then went on to the next one. This is one of those you can make it as long as you want, as short as you want. And the washcloth idea was great as well. I just decided to do a big towel. I'll just throw this in my kitchen and use it, and then it will just go in the wash and it will come back out again. But I'm really happy with this. I really like using all of these colors. I had never used this yarn before, so that was also fun. I'm not a big fan of knitting with kind of cotton linen blends, but I would do it again now. It's been years and years, and this was just lovely, lovely, lovely yarn to work with. So I will revisit cotton and maybe some cotton linen blends in the future. But super happy with this. This is, again, a Catty Corner washcloth dish towel pattern by Purl Soho, and I'll link that in the show notes below as well. So those are my 2 finished objects for this month. So now we can move on to some works in progress. Works in progress. I have 4, I think. 4 to show you today. The first one that I want to talk about is the Roosty Pullover, and it's by Ella Gordon. And I have had this in my wish list, to-do list for quite a long time. And Dan and Kay of the Bakery Bears, Dan is currently making a version of this vest for Kay. And once he decided he was going to do that and got it on the needles, it really inspired me to go back and say, I need to start this. I had lots of colors already that are very similar or exactly like the original colors in the pattern, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to emulate those original colors. Dan is doing it in a different color palette for Kay. She didn't like or wasn't a fan of the colors that they came in. But I already have a vest, the Bruntsfield vest by Isolde Teague, that I did a couple of years ago. That's kind of in fall colors, and this one is in all bright spring colors. So it's really just a kind of a compliment to what I already have. But anyway, once Dan started his, I was very inspired to go ahead and get this on the needles, and then we finalized our plans to go to Rhinebeck this year. Very excited about that, but that is coming up in just a few short months. And my goal is to have this as my Rhinebeck sweater this year, my Rhinebeck vest. And so I'm hoping that I can get it done. It goes pretty quickly when I actually pick it up and do it. I try to do a few rows a day so that I can actually get some good progress in it. This particular pattern is a little bit cropped. I am not going to knit it that way. I'm not a cropped top girl. So what I'm going to do is that I'm actually doing, I think this has, 2 repeats of the patterning. I think I'm going to do 3 repeats of the pattern before I get to the underarms. Once you get to the underarms, you have to steek. You'll have to put in steek stitches for the underarms because you will cut those, steek those. And it is, I think, and I always forget to look at the picture of it, but I think it's a rounded collar. So I'm not sure what we're doing when we get to the collar, whether that's steeked or not. The Bruntsfield vest was steeked because it was a V neck, but I'm not sure how this one is going to go. I didn't read that far ahead in the pattern, but however it works, it works. But I will have to steek the armholes. Once again, this is the only steeking I've ever done. I did that steeking for the Bruntsfield vest, and I didn't even think ahead because it meant for that vest I had 3 steeks that I had to do, 2 armholes and one for the vest. I mean, one for the neckline. Rather than just starting with a cardigan that just has 1 steek up the middle. And if you don't know what that means, it basically means that in order to make it easy to do color work in the round, you put in what are called steek stitches. So rather than splitting for the armholes and then having to do the color work back and forth because you're not knitting in the round anymore, you put in extra stitches here. So whatever, 10 stitches here. So you can just knit across and continue the patterning all the way around, right up until you get to the shoulders. And what that does, and then when you're done with the project, you have these 7-10 steek stitches here. You know what they are. You have a specific color, a color mix that you've done for those, and then you just basically cut them, and that will open up the round hole for for the arms. And the same thing would happen for the neckline. You would do some additional steek stitches here so you can still continue to work in the round. And then when you're done, you're ready to do the neckline, you cut down and open them up. With you usually doing Fair Isle, you're using wool, and wool is pretty sticky. So the fibers, the individual hairs and the fibers will stick together very well, which makes it ideal for doing this kind of work. And because you don't really have to worry about your stitches unraveling when you do that cutting. Now you do want to secure them, of course. You're not, you are going to secure them one way or another. Some people like to sew them up. Some people do a little crochet line down. I forget what I did the last time. I think I might have done a crochet one on each side just to secure the stitches a little bit, but you really don't have to worry about them. They are not going to go anywhere. And once you've worn the vest, because they're going to flip to the inside, and then you're going to pick up your stitches to do the edging on the armholes and on the neckline. Once you've done that, all of those stitches at the ends that you've cut are inside the garment. And really what happens very, very quickly is that they felt together. So I have never been too precious about worrying about what was going to happen to the steek stitches. I've only done this once, but in that other pattern that I did, I really had no problem with them coming unraveled, and I haven't covered them up in any way. They really have just all felted together. So I anticipate that that's what will happen with this as well. But I'm excited. The colors are beautiful, as you'll see. They're bright and cheery, and it once I get going, it keeps me going, and hopefully, knock on wood, I'll get this done for Rhinebeck, because it's really pretty. But let me show you what this looks like. So this is how much I have done so far. I think I've done quite a bit more than I had before the last time I podcast. So it's a bottom up. So you start here at the bottom with a twisted 1x1 rib, I believe, and then you move into the beautiful Fair Isle patterning here. And even though this looks like lots and lots of colors, there's only 2 colors each row. So some rows use the same 2 colors a couple of times. Sometimes you're switching out, sometimes you switch out one color. But yeah, you're making a painting in wool, and it's really not difficult because you're just using the 2 colors. But I'm really, I'm really enjoying this. So I think I want to say I'm one. Maybe I finished 2, or I'm almost finished with the second repeat. As I said, I'm going to do one more so that this is just longer, so it will fall more around my hips rather than cropped, a cropped version of it, because that makes much more sense for me and for my wardrobe, for my aesthetic that I wear. But I'm really happy with it. I love these colors. It's just they're so bright with the blues and the reds, and yeah, I think these are fantastic. You'll see I have lots of stitch markers in here. And the reason that I do that, not everyone does it, but I like to put a stitch marker in for the pattern repeat. So whatever, there are 24 stitches in the repeat, so that just means that there's these 24 stitches. This pattern repeats all the way around the garment. And then this way I have the stitch markers between those at the end of each of those 24 stitches. And so that way I can kind of, I don't count them every time, but I can see where I am. And then I can realize quickly if I'm off or if I've dropped a stitch. So that's why I do this. And these just are all the way around. So every 24 stitches, I have a stitch marker, and I know that that's the end of one. That's the end of one repeat, and that just stays the whole way up, because the chart is written that way. It's a 24 stitch repeat. You might have some stitches at the end from when you start and you end the piece, but basically these are the 24 stitches that you're repeating every single time, all the way around. So this really helps me to remember where I am and just make sure I haven't made any mistakes, because I do. I mean, you do. Obviously you're looking at, if you're not paying attention. I will do this watching television, so that's why I will have to check every now and again. But I will, if I'm doing this, I'm mostly looking at this, not just kind of listening to the television. But so I'm really pleased with this, and I'm looking forward to getting it done. Hopefully I'm not still like binding off stitches the night before we go to Rhinebeck, but I'll I've been concentrating on this, and I will continue to concentrate on it as well. So that's my first work in progress. My second, I'll show you this one that I did before. I'm just going to reach over here. So my second one is the forest. What is this? What's it called? It's called the forest pillow. And this is a pattern again that came from knitography, from Patricia Knitography. So she's doing a kind of just a general knit along for this particular project. And again, I'll put a picture up here. It's a beautiful pillow that you can use, you'd use in the wintertime because it has fir trees on it. It's just really beautiful. And it's using the Ralma Garn yarn, which again is beautiful. So this is my second colorwork project. Woo, this is a colorwork summer for me, but I don't mind. This has been really fun. And this only is using 2 colors. There's not multiple colors in this one. So here it is here. I have quite a bit to go because it is a large pillow, and you are knitting this all the way around. There's quite a few stitches here on the needle. I don't remember how many, but there's quite a few. But this is really fun, and you can see here it's got the tree motif, and so this just goes up and up and all the way. Someone had commented, and they were wondering how it was going to look, because this is green on top of the white, and the white is obviously a lighter color, and the green is a darker color. And then in the back, so this is how it looks in the back. So you're going to have all the floats. The green floats are long, and they're passing over. So it was just curious to see how much it would show through. And I can see a little bit of a kind of a green shading to this cream yarn behind it, but that's okay. I wouldn't not mind that at all. And it's just the nature of the beast. That's perfectly fine. And on this one as well, there's some long floats back here. Normally when you're doing color work or doing some Fair Isle knitting, you'd want to catch some of these long floats because in your regular knitting, because if you were wearing a garment, like a pullover garment, if you were putting this on and off, some of these long floats would have a tendency to get caught in something. So maybe caught on your ring, caught on a button, something along the lines, putting them on and off. So you'd really want to pay more attention to catching your floats every 4 or 5 stitches if you have really long floats there. But since this is a pillow, that doesn't matter. So I'm not worried about catching floats because that's a whole other thinking process that you need to do. Not difficult, but again, if you're trying to catch your floats, you need to think about that in your knitting. I don't have to do that with this because it's a pillow. So nothing will ever catch. It's going to go right over a pillow form and be sewn up, and no one will ever see the back of this, and this will not get caught on anything. So that is why I just have all of these long floats carrying in the back, and I'm not catching them at all. But I think that this will be really beautiful. I am not in any particular rush to finish this. I'm just going to keep on going. It may not be finished for this Christmas season, maybe for next Christmas season, but I'm really enjoying it. It's an easy knit. The pattern is lovely, and it's very straightforward because it's just, once you cast on all your stitches, you're just going to knit, follow the chart for this, and just knit until you get to your full size. Put your pillow form in there and then just sew up the top or the bottom. So it's just a nice relaxing project for me to work on. But I am continuing to work on it, and I will show you progress as I go. And let's see, I'm gonna lean down here for a second and grab my next project. The next project that I have is a pair of socks. Finally, I have my pair of socks back on the needles. I commute to Boston 2 days a week, and I take a bus and the subway. So I have about a 20-25 minute bus ride, and I usually try to take a small project with me on the bus to work because that works out really well. It's just enough time to get some good things done while I'm listening to a podcast. So the pair of socks that I have finally cast on is the Fairground socks, and they are by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bear. And these are so pretty. I love them. Here they are. And this is just, it's a really easy pattern to do, is just some knits together and yarn overs that create this lovely patterning and pulling of the stitches up and down. She designed it for self-striping yarn. So that, so basically, so you get this pattern repeat in each of the stripes of the yarn. Now this I have, I'm using West Yorkshire spinners, the signature 4-ply. And I'm not sure if this is officially self-striping yarn, but it knits up in stripes. You can see the back of it here. Actually, I should show that first so you can see the back of it. This will be the bottom of the foot. So it's working up really, really well. I wasn't sure whether it was going to when I bought it. I bought a ball of this beautiful pink. Originally I was going to just switch the pink and the pattern yarn up in stripes. I was going to stripe it instead, but once I started knitting with it, I was like, you know what, this is great, and I'll just use the plain for the heels, toes, and the cuff of the sock, and that will work out great. I'm really, really pleased with that. But these are super fun. So I'm actually knitting them backwards because Kay's pattern is written from the cuff down. That's the way she likes to do socks. I am not a cuff down sock person. I'm always a toe up. I don't know why, but that's just what works for me. I really like it. I can try on the socks. I know exactly how long to make them until I get to my heel. I usually use some type of a short row heel, and then I'll just move on up to the leg. I also don't do them concurrently or two together at the same time. I do one at a time, and then I'll get a pair at the end. But for me, this really works. So the pattern is backwards because I'm going up instead of coming down, but that's absolutely okay. No knitting police here, and I think they're going to be just a beautiful pattern here. I'm really excited about getting these done. And again, this is like potato chip knitting. Once you get going, you're like, all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I'm almost at the heel. That's crazy. How did I get so far with that? But yep. So this is my bus knitting and lunchtime work knitting. So really pleased with this. I'll continue to update you on how they turn out. And I think, yes, so my last project is a brand new cast on. Why? These things always happen. I'm always casting something else on before I'm done with anything. But I don't feel bad this time because I did finish that little sweater, and I did finish the dish towel. So I don't have the guilty. It's not that I should ever feel guilty about knitting, but I don't feel too bad about starting this new project. So Loretta of the Knit My Way Home podcast, and she posted a picture of this particular shawl on Instagram, and she said she was kind of participating in a knit along with it, and she's using some particular yarn, and she would love to see it knit up in some new Tedans, the unspun yarn as well. And so I was looking at it, and it's a free pattern by Espace Tricot. It's called Fleur, and so I was looking at the pattern. I'm like, oh, I'll download it. And I was looking at it, I'm like, now it has bobbles. I'm not a big fan of doing bobbles, but it's not too bad. And I have quite a bit of Natidan yarn, and I didn't have anything planned for it. So I was like, you know what, maybe I'll do that and add another little project in. And I'm glad that I did, because it's a really, again, not mindless project, but it is not bad. It's just knitting. It's all garter stitch. And so you're just increasing in the middle. I think you're increasing in the middle spine, and then you're increasing on the two ends as well. So it starts small and it's growing out. And it does have a bobble row but not every other row or anything. There's quite a few rows in between. So I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm not sure if I posted this on Instagram yet. So Loretta, I'm joining you, and then thank you for the inspiration of this particular project. But let me show you what it looks like. I've gotten pretty far. I just started this a few days ago. It goes pretty far. I'm using, I don't remember the size needles, but I'm using fairly large needles here. So that also makes it go fast. This is great TV knitting. This is perfect TV knitting, because really all you're thinking about is making your increases in the middle and then on the two ends, and everything else is just, you just knit, except for the bobble row, but those aren't too bad. And as I said, there's lots and lots of knitting in between these bobble rows. So I'm pretty pleased. I'm happy that I started this. This is just really pretty. And the yarn is so soft. And I'll show you what I'm doing. As I said, I'm using the Untitled. I don't know the colorway of this. I've had this for a while. And so here's this color. So again, this is the unspun yarn. So I know some people haven't knit with this or have. It is not difficult to knit with. If you break the yarn, you just kind of splice it together, and it just goes right back together again. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful and soft. So what I am doing is pairing it with a lace weight. So this is just a generic black grayish lace weight that I have in my stash, and I have this to ply for spinning. I have that blue, beautiful blue fiber that I'm using for that year-long epic blanket that I'm doing, which is also, and that fiber is also from Untitled, but I'm using this black yarn to ply with the blue fiber when I spin it, just to give it some strength in the blanket. So, but this is huge. This is a huge cone. So I decided I'm not spinning that blue yarn right now. I'm not at the blue section yet. So I thought I would use this and this together, and it works perfectly fine. That's lovely. It's got it like a little marled color, but you still see that beautiful kind of lavendery pink. And then just has the contrast of the dark gray in there. And yeah, I'm really happy. This will just be a great piece to pull out in the winter and just wrap around your neck when you need to run out to the store. So very, very nice. It's actually, it looks like it's heavy, but it's not. It's extremely light because this is just so airy. The Untitled is just, there's nothing to it. It's just fiber and air, really. So it's very, very light. It's not hot at all to knit. I was surprised to be, taking this out and putting this on my lap. This is nothing like the epic blanket. That one is thick and heavy, but this is extremely light. And yeah, it's just been a joy. It's just been a joy to knit. And thank you for the inspiration on that. I'll probably be finished with this fairly quickly because we've been watching some intense shows in the evening here. But yep. So I think those are all of my works in progress. So let me just grab. I have one project that I'm actually going to start kind of thinking and doing them. So let me just grab the yarn over here. And this project is inspired by Ivana of the Republic of Me podcast. And I've been a follower of hers for quite a while now. And she does beautiful work. She lives on the island of Cyprus, and she just does beautiful, beautiful spinning with fiber. She's a weaver, so she weaves these beautiful shawls and fabric. It's just lovely. And she makes mostly sweaters and socks from her hand spun. She has a particular type of sweater that she has been knitting for herself and her family members for quite a long time. And she's been talking about maybe writing up that pattern to see if she could kind of do it. And she has done that, and I'll link it here, but it's on her blog. It's a free pattern, and it just has the formula of what you want to do. It can be any kind of sweater you want. I suppose that you could do a turtleneck, you could do a boat neck, you could just do a regular crew neck, you could make it short sleeve, you could make it long sleeve, you could make it long or short. Really, it's just kind of a formula for doing this particular sweater that she has. So I'm really excited I was excited to read it, and I have I've saved that copy of the patterning or the recipe. And you have to do some counting. You need to do some measuring and to figure out how many stitches you want to cast on and what your gauge is, etc. So, but that's perfectly fine. I have no problem with doing that. And so what I wanted to do is I ended up, I thought I don't have enough hand spun to do that. That would be the ideal thing, but I don't have enough hand spun. And the fiber that I'm using right now, I'm spinning specifically for that epic blanket to get through that one. So I thought I would purchase some yarn, and I got some Cascade 220 in the Heathers, and I forget the color. This is I don't remember what the color of this is, but It's a, here, I'll just show it to you. It's this really beautiful, I think that looks a little orangey. It's a little less orange in real life. It's a little more muted heathery, but it's this beautiful color. And I got enough of this to do this. I would probably plan on doing some kind of it'll be a turtleneck and it'll be a long sleeve sweater for me. So this would be something I would be knitting up to use in the winter, or, in the fall, winter, and into the early spring as well. So this is really beautiful, beautiful yarn. And I love the Cascade 220. I used to knit with this all the time. I haven't in a while, not for any particular reason, but I just haven't. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go back and revisit the Cascade 220 because it's really, again, it's just another workhorse yarn. So this is, again, I don't have to be precious about this sweater. Once I make it, I can wear it as much as I want until it wears out. So that's really what's nice about this yarn. But I don't have on the needles yet because I need to sit down and do some math and figure out the sizes and just make sure I have the right needles and put things together for this project. So I think probably I will, I might start it before I finish my vest, but I mean, my goal right now, really, my goal is really to finish the vest for Rhinebeck. So hopefully I will, and maybe I'll have this on the needles when I go to Rhinebeck. This might be what I'm taking with me to knit on as well. So that is my knitting adjacent project that is coming up, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'll show it to you when I cast it on. All right, so I think that's all I have for my knitting right now. So let's move on to some chatter. So what has been happening? I think it's probably been about a month since I podcast. Amazing. I'm trying to get back to this in a little more of a regular basis, but I think it's been about a month. So I remember work is busy because it's bill time for fall semester. Bills were due on August 1st. So we've been dealing with lots of last minute issues for people trying to get their bills covered so that they don't get a hold on their account and start getting late fees, etc. So that's been very, very busy. But again, very exciting because as I said, we have two new people that we hired and another person that we hired a few months back that's helping out. And now we just this week got the okay to hire another person. So things are really kind of getting back to normal in our office. What I have to do is kind of remember I'm not the only one there. So I have to let other people do things, which is okay. I'm more than happy to do that. But it's a change in a mindset. And I'm sure some of you who have had this situation with your offices, you're like, oh, I have to do this project. Oh, I have to do this project. Well, yes, I might still have to do them, but I might not have to do them by myself, or I'll have some help with it, or someone else is going to take on a particular project that I've had to do, so that will come off my plate. So very, very, very happy with that. It's going to be a completely different year this year than it was last year, and I just feel like we're going to be able to have some really good progress and be able to do a lot more of the things that we were hoping. We've always hoped to do, and we should do as an office at a university. So all is well on that score. Very, very happy about that. Sophia has been doing a little bit of traveling. It is international. I forget how quickly we forget. She had planned a week-long trip to Canada, to Ottawa. Yes, she went to Ottawa. And to visit a writing friend of hers, Lauren, came here last year for a week, and she had this plan. She's had to plan to go up there for a week. And poor Sophia, another travel saga. But she got to the airport. We dropped her off at the airport. It was an international flight to Canada, so she was there a few hours early. Turns out her flight was canceled, and so it was a Saturday, and they canceled the flight, and then they said they could rebook her on Tuesday. And I was like, oh no, are you going to have to come try to get home and then get back to the airport for Tuesday? So that would would have been, how that is. You're ready to go somewhere and something like that happened. So, but luckily what she did was she was going to try to see if she could actually book a different flight to get up there that same day. And that wasn't seeming to work for her, but she was texting at the time with her friend Megan, the mom of the little boy that I made this sweater for. And as I said, they live in Virginia, and she was, saying, oh my gosh, my flight got canceled. I can't get another flight up to Canada until Tuesday. And Megan was like, well, she goes, why don't you come to Virginia? Sophia's like, wait a minute, what? She goes, yeah. She goes, you're at the airport, aren't you? Why don't just buy a ticket and we'll pick you up, and you can spend a couple of days here, and then we'll get you back to the airport, and you can go to Canada on Tuesday. And that's what she did. She called me. She's like, Mom, I'm going to do. I'm like, that's absolutely a genius decision. Sophia hadn't met the little guy yet either. So the last time she has saw Megan and her husband was on their wedding. So she did. She hopped on a plane. She got there that night. They picked her up. They had a great couple of days spent by the pool, and I think they went to one of the amusement parks around there, and they just had a fantastic time. And it was just, it was just really fun for her to get back with one of her best friends. So that was great. They got her back to the airport. So that she from here. She obviously went to the airport in Boston to prepare for her flight to Canada. So instead of flying to Canada, she flew to Virginia, and then she flew back to Boston. And then from Boston, she flew up to Canada. So I was getting texts for her like, yep, made it to Boston. Yep, getting on my flight to Canada. So that was fun. And then she ended up coming back. So she took her full week vacation, and she got to do some expected fun things with that. And then in 3 weeks, the end of August, she's going to go on a solo trip to Disney. So she's got that all taken care of. She's got all of her tickets. She knows where she's staying. She's got all the plans of what she's going to do. And I think she's going to have a great time. So she'll be doing that for a few days. I will be traveling to visit my parents for a few days. I'll do that not this coming week, but next week. So I'm going to be traveling out there again. I think I've mentioned before that, my dad is getting quite elderly, and he has a lot of eyesight issues. He's legally blind. He really can't see that well. My mom's got to do a lot of things now for him. So what I'm trying to do is to kind of go out there for a few days, 4 or 5 days, every couple of months, and just kind of give her a little bit of a relief. I can hang out with my dad. I can cook for them. I can just kind of take a little bit of the edge off. And that's not that my brother, I have 2 brothers that are there, and one of them lives right next door. So there's lots of people to help. But I think for my mother, it's just nice to actually have someone in the house, so she can just kind of, go off and do her thing and not worry about watching my father, making sure he doesn't trip on the stairs or anything. So, and I really love it. I just love spending time with them. And it's feels like a little mini vacation for me. I get to hang out usually with my sister-in-law, Tracy, and, all the brothers and spouses went, we all went out to dinner the last time that I was there. So that was really nice. I got to see my nieces and nephews, and it was that was really fun. So I'll be doing that in a couple of weeks again. So that will be nice. I'll try to, I don't think I took much video last time that I was there, but I think I'll take some, and I'll be able to kind of show you that. And for those of you that knew us when we lived in Saratoga, you'll recognize a lot of the places, but it's just nice because I can just wander down. They have a lovely Northshire bookstore there. There's a little fudge shop next door. There's just lots of little fun shops to go into, and just stop and have a little cup of coffee somewhere downtown for a little bit too. So that's nice. It's also August. I forget about that. It is August in Saratoga. So if you watched us before, you know that in the New York Racing Association has its August season in Saratoga. So it used to just be for 4 weeks in August, just literally it was a 4-week racing season. Now they've extended it. So I think it starts in the middle of July, goes through the middle of September. So it's a little bit longer now, but it is by far the busiest season in town. So I will not be driving downtown. If I want to go downtown, I will just take a couple of hours and take a walk down, because there are just, it's a town that starts out, it normally has about 25,000 people, and it doubles. So there's probably about 50,000 people in the in town for the racing season, and it's very exciting. There's lots of parties. There's just lots of people in town. All of the restaurants are jam packed every single night. So as a kid, when I was a kid, it was great because, if you were working in a restaurant, you made so many tips, and it was hard work, but it was always, it was a really fun season to look forward to. So you just don't want to drive around too much. There's just so much traffic going on, and the races are held every day. I think the racetrack is dark on Tuesdays, so it's closed on Tuesdays, but every other day there's horse racing, and that's a fun thing in and of itself as well. So I'll be going there to do that, and then in September, I think I mentioned this before, we have this big project. We're going to have the floors in the house redone, except for our bedroom and the room across from here, which is a painted floor. So we're gonna have all the other rooms, all of the floors are going to be stripped, resanded, and have stain and polyurethane put on them, and that will be like a once in a lifetime project to do. But that will happen at the end of September. And we have to be out of the house for that to happen. So we have to have movers move most of our furniture out. It will go, we'll stick it in a pod. We have a friend down the street we can put the pod in their driveway. So that's not too bad, but we have to have everything moved out. And Sophia's going to go and stay for the week with my in-laws. And Mark and I are going to go to the Cape. So we are going to take our vacation at the end of September. So that will be fun. I will look forward to that. It's always nice. We used to live years and years ago in East Sandwich when Sophia was a little tyke, 2-3 years old. And so it's one of our favorite places. And we know all of our old restaurants, our old haunts, and kind of where to go and the things that we like to see and do. So I am looking forward to that. We are renting an Airbnb right in Sandwich, so that'll be really nice as well. Cute little studio Airbnb. So that'll be nice. We don't have that way we can, if we decide one night to eat in, we can just go to the store and get food and we can cook right there. We don't have to go out every single night. Some nights on your vacation, you're just like, I just want to stay in and watch TV and just relax. And so, but we'll be able to do that with the Airbnb. So I'm looking forward to that. That will be very, very nice. Yeah. And I think that's it. I'm going to try to add in here some, video of a walk. One of our walks that we do. Mark and I did a walk yesterday. I might take one in the morning and try to do one. We do completely different areas of walking. He likes to walk towards the middle of town, and I prefer to walk up here, where I usually take, it's just up the hill here where I usually take my picture in the morning and put it on the Instagram stories. And because the harbor's right here, and I walk up there first, take a picture, put it on Instagram, and then I continue on, and I walk up all the way down the harbor and then come back around. And I'm not sure why he doesn't like that, but he's not a fan of that particular walk, but that's my favorite. So I like to do that in the morning. But today I went with him on the other way. So I took some video of some pretty houses along the way and just the other end of the harbor. So I'll be able to, try to put those together and put that up on here as well. So, but otherwise, thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe. And hopefully I'll be back in about another month or so and have some good progress to show you on all of my projects. And until then, just remember, it's just knitting. Bye.